So, my name's Jeff. What's your name?
Hiram?
Hi.
Hiram.
Hiram?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you spell that?
Hiram.
Okay. Yeah. So, what's your first response, I guess, to that question, or what do you think about that? What happens after this life? Yeah.
Personally, I kind of think we're in some sort of weird, I guess, linear timeline of, because like time only moves forward, but our consciousness, it may like cease to exist as we are now, but it will keep going and going and going and going until time ends. Our body is just like a vessel for our consciousness that kind of just ends at a certain point, and then we move on to a new point, and to a new point, and to a new point, and to a new point, until it keeps going.
So, are you saying that time marches on linearly at a certain rate, but our soul kind of like hops and skips? Is that because like Eastern philosophies, they believe it's more circular, but so like a Western Judeo-Christian philosophy would be like time is moving forward, and cause and effect, and
it's kind of maybe it's kind of like a mix of both. I assume, because there's like time is constant and always keeps going, but we, or our soul, I guess, it's like a whole nother thing, and that it also like would keep going, but not as ourselves. It would be something else.
So I guess a combination would be like if you were to put it on a chart, it would be like moving forward, but having times when it moves backwards, and but steadily marching forward.
Yeah, it's like reincarnation, but it's not.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I kind of.
Do you follow a certain religious system or religion? I guess you'd say, or.
Yes and no. I'm kind of the firm believer that we are all kind of just like energy and made from nature, and nature is just like the driving force between our everything, like the consciousness, like everything that we as human beings did comes from nature, and like even the most like artificial things like plastic, it comes from like fossil fuels, which in turn come from nature, because so it all comes from nature, and we are nature. So it's like we are all kind of like this energy.
Now you're not saying like Mother Nature, but just would it be a higher power that has has thought? I guess
I would say
not just higher power, but a smarter power than us.
I would say it's entirely possible that the idea of nature is some form of higher power. It's not impossible. Whether or not it still exists, or like whatever drove us to sentience or whatever was powerful or not, like a deity or something.
Do you think that process of reincarnation, like you would be reincarnated into something depending on what you did in this life?
I don't think so. I think it's just kind of like energy being reused where it needs to be, because energy can't be created or destroyed. So it's just like cycling.
Wherever you fit in.
Wherever you fit in.
Yeah, because I was going to say if you come back as a higher or lower power depending on your actions, then there would be judgment involved, and that judgment would indicate an intelligent, higher power.
I don't believe in a judgment.
It's very out of style. In judgment right now.
I do think that people should be good just because they want to be good. And I'm not saying people should be bad, but people can be good or bad. It's just kind of like we're all just kind of born blank slates.
Now, if somebody was, say, a child molester and believed that was good, would you?
No, I would entirely disagree.
So you would kind of judge them, right?
I would judge them,
But, so you believe in like absolute good and bad, like there's moral absolutes.
Like morality exists, and it exists for a reason, and like I think people as a consciousness, like, collectively came up with morality, and I think it exists for a reason. Moral ideas are well, they're like developed by society, but sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
So they're also kind of like a gray and black thing.
Yeah, because like if it's something that came about by, I forget what you said just now, the crowd, like the society has determined.
Yeah, like
almost like a democracy.
Yeah.
So if there's more people saying something is good, then that makes it good.
Yeah, but then there's also like the morality that we came up with as just like as part of being human. A lot of humans understand, because it's like, I guess, part of our primal nature that you don't hurt children, you don't kill people, or you don't steal, because it's like it's bad, and it's kind of been ingrained in us because of our animal brain or whatever. Because even back then we
feel
understood
like morality is like a biological.
Partially,
construct.
yeah. There's like biological morality, and then there's like morality, cultural morality, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did you come from a church background of any sort?
Yeah, I was raised Catholic. Not super Catholic, just like I did my first communion, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But
was there a certain point where you just said, I can't go along with this?
I just don't like rules.
Okay.
I don't like the rules that came. Like, I can appreciate the certain things that religion has done, because religion is part of culture, and I feel people give it, especially like Catholicism, they give it a lot of flack just because, like, sure, it's responsible for a lot of bad things, like a lot of stuff is, honestly.
Yeah.
But there's like lots of culture in it. Like, you look at the Sistine Chapel, or you even look at the fact that during the Dark Ages, there was this monk that came up with the idea of the Big Bang. So kind of,
there was a beginning to everything.
Yeah. So he did it as a way to prove the existence of God. And nowadays you have like atheists going like, hey, the Big Bang, that's a great idea. So it's like,
which I mean, I'm a Christian, so I if you were atheist, well, I don't know if you consider yourself atheist.
I don't really know.
But anyway, the Big Bang. I mean, the very obvious question is like, what is it that exploded? Who lit the fuse? What was the original cause to all those cause and effect relationships?
And that's the thing, is that even scientific sources agree it all came from one point.
Yeah.
And that's when the guy who made it, he was like a preacher. He was like a Catholic priest, I think. And he said, this proves the existence of God, because from this one point, that's where God created everything.
And so now they talk about like dark matter and things like that. And I just have to say, even dark matter is something, like
it's all still energy to me.
Yeah. So the Christian version, the Bible version is in the beginning God created, like 5 words that are so profound, because it's saying in the beginning God already existed. There was this being that has been around that was not created, that's always existed, and then brought other things into existence, And because the typical question is, well, if God made everything, who made God, And so those first 5 words just say God was there in the beginning,
Yeah,
and it's I guess it's implying, it's not saying God existed forever, but
it's an idea that's existed in humans for a long time. If you look at like not just the way Christians thought the world was made, lots of different cultures say in the beginning there was nothing, and then there was something. It's not just like a Christian thing.
Yeah, so I don't know if that makes it any less true or more true for Christians, It's like there's a lot of, almost every culture has a flood.
Yeah.
Lots of oral history of a flood, and so does that make it more true or less true?
Lots of people worship the sun and all this stuff. They all just kind of overlap. And that's kind of where I feel as for like organized religion as a whole. For me personally, it's like there's no way to know which one is fully right.
Yeah.
And I rather just stick to my own thing.
And the Bible actually says, like, if we do that, we're basically it's called idol worship because you're like inventing what you want to worship, and saying I'm gonna be the one who makes up this God or decides to worship this God. And so the Bible presents God as presenting Himself to us. He doesn't leave the burden of inventing God on us. You got to get going. I asked for 5 or 10 minutes, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to give you the link to where you can see this, and I might have do something else to it. Are you a student or what?
No, I'm
Sounds like you've thought through some of these things. This is that's where it's going to be at.
No, I'm just some guy.
You like studying it?
Yeah, I'm kind of a history nerd, so I look up like a lot of stuff like this, whether it be the history of like certain religions or the history of certain people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've looked up like history of like churches and stuff like that, just out of pure self-interest.
Well, I'm gonna give you this. It's kind of like a comparison. And this is not real money. I'll give you one of these too, though. It's got a. I don't know if do you read Spanish?
I do, yeah.
It's got an explanation of the gospel in Spanish.
Okay.
But this compares at least 4 major religions, and from a distance, I think they look the same. It looks like we're just all trying to be good people for a better afterlife, and even atheists will say, "Well, I'm a good person. I just don't need reward or punishment, for a better afterlife, if there is one, But anyway, it kind of shows, of course, it's favoring Christianity. What makes Christianity unique? So I think you might like that. So check it out.
Thank you. And, I like looking into this anyway. So regardless of what it is.
I would love to talk more. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. So but I'll leave it up to you to contact me if you'd be interested.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.